Hey guys, this is Matt Powell.
Hey, Matt Powell.
This is the voice of the Mr. We have replaced your brain with spaghetti. We think it will be an improvement over what was there before.
I'm kidding, of course. I'm so sick. Being the voice of the Misterons is just my side gig. Well, apart from the spaghettis thing, though. That's 100% true. That mush in there before was doing nothing for you.
So evolutionists love to use dinosaurs.
Oh, God, I couldn't ask for a more perfect opening sentence, could I? Yes, Matt. Evolutionists use dinosaurs. All the time. We can't stop. In fact, did you know that a plastic dinosaur has a chance of being made out of dinosaur? Because, fossil fuels and all that. Also, I can't stop riding my pet dinosaur Steve down to the shops. Whoa, Steve, settle down. You don't get to eat Matt. Daddy has to make fun of him first. Then you can eat him.
To try to disprove the Bible and disprove young Earth creationism.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Well, I don't think they disprove the Bible or creationism at all. I mean, really, how could they? The Bible? Well, they're not even in there. And disprove creationism? I mean, creationism says that the Earth is only a few thousand years old. But the time dinosaurs were around was millions and millions of years ago. So how could they possibly disprove creationism? They weren't around to argue against it. That just doesn't make any gosh darn sense noises now, does it?
And they will use God's own creation against him.
Wait, are you saying that they use a thing that God created against him, aka a thing that you think he created, as an argument against? Or do you mean the fact that God was created against him? Because come on, we're all created by someone. God's no different. I would never hold his nature as a thing that was made by someone else against him. That's not his fault, now is it? It's those damned writers who are at fault, really.
But one of the things that I think is important to share with people and with your children and with your loved ones that believe in evolution.
No, I'm never sharing it. It's mine and you can't take it away from me. No one is getting any because I already drank it all, so go away. And don't go looking for secret stashes either, because they are empty too. I'm onto your games, mate, and I will never be tricked into sharing any of my whiskey with anyone, even if they do believe in evolution. Not sure what that's got to do with sharing it, but I'm not gonna. So you can do one, mate.
Is the fact that we actually find soft tissue from dinosaur bones. We find collagen, we find blood cells with hemoglobin still in the blood.
Oh, he wasn't talking about my... Oh, thank goodness. And evil for that matter, because sick doesn't share. But the fact that we find certain types of soft tissues is gonna, what, disprove evolution? Because I have a funny feeling that it won't. And more than likely you are just going to, yet again, prove how you don't actually know what you're talking about. Because you read the title of any given article or paper and then decide, yep, that proves me right. And then shoot off to YouTube to claim yet another victory. Speaking of the YouTubes, what's with the 21:9 cinema type aspect ratio? I mean, I could do that too. But it doesn't actually make me less ridiculous. In fact, I'm pretty sure it would make it worse. Although it does mean that I can do this.
In a world where the dum-dums do the big stupid, one man set out to be the biggest dum-dum of them all. Matt Powell, the motion picture. In cinemas near you never, cause seriously, who the fuck would pay to see that shit unironically?
Anyway, I'm fixing it, cause it's just distracting.
We also find DNA, dinosaur DNA. And so these are all things that should have deteriorated if they died out 65 plus million years ago.
Should they, Matt? Really? How do you know that? I would love to see your qualifications in paleontology. The thing is, no, they actually don't need to of necessarily. In fact, they are actually exceptionally rare. Exceptionally being the operative word. AKA, they are an exception that only appear in a tiny number of fossils. Likely preserved under unique circumstances. One would think if dino boys were less than a few thousand years old, we would have way more examples of them.
And so we're finding soft tissue and DNA inside of duck-billed dinosaurs. We're finding it inside of T-Rexes with Mary Schweitzer's discovery in 2005 and in 1990.
Matt, do you understand that this is a tiny quantity of material? I mean, there are mummified humans all over the shop. from multiple cultures and hell, even natural mummies of pretty much intact humans that date from about 9,000 years ago, might I add, but let's not go there for all of our sanity's sakes, and yet for some reason we don't have a top-to-toe preserved dino, just instead a few microscopic meat flecks in a bone. Almost like it's really, really, really old or something.
These discoveries literally prove beyond any shadow of doubt.
Ooh, what do they prove, Matt? Is it something stupid that they in no way, shape or form prove at all? See, you can tell it's going to be something really dumb because of how he's confidently stating it like a fact without any possibility that it's wrong. As they say, the intelligent are full of doubt, and Matt Powell is full of confidence. And a lot of something else.
That these creatures died recently.
No, it doesn't, Matt. And this is how I can tell you don't read beyond headlines, because if you did, you would know that the scientists who discover these things still call them millions of years old, because that's what they are. And your claims of recent death are just more asinine nonsense that you just decided was true because you want it to be true. Like pretty much everything else you believe.
And not millions of years ago, because organic material can only last a maximum of about 10,000 years before it will deteriorate.
Now, how could you possibly know that? Like I said, don't you believe that the Earth could only be a maximum of like 6,000 years old? So you would have nothing to compare that to, at least as far as your ideas are concerned. And don't tell me science told you, because no it didn't. Science tells us many different things that don't jive with creaty boys. And also, science, right, will prove itself wrong, does it all the time. That's why it's always way more accurate than, well, anything you believe.
Now, evolutionists will go running to preservation. They think that preservation techniques are the reason that the dinosaur DNA or blood with hemoglobin in the cells didn't deteriorate for millions and millions of years.
What? What are you talking about? Preservation techniques? Like someone did it on purpose? Please tell me that's not what you mean, because no one has said that. No one credible, at least, because that is like almost as dumb as everything you believe. And I simply cannot see you believing it unless it's way more stupid than that. Fingers crossed.
And they think that somehow there was preservation that took place. But if I was to take dinosaur soft tissue or DNA and put that DNA inside of an airtight jar, and take that airtight jar and put that in another airtight jar, and then take that airtight jar and put that in another airtight jar, and in another airtight jar and another airtight jar.
Oh my god, it is worse. Thanks, Matt. You're a champ. And I love it. The only way that Matt could even conceive of preserving things is to put it in airtight jars, over and over again. The man apparently never hearing of mummification. Something that doesn't work by sealing things away from the elements, at least not exclusively, but by changing the properties of it with exposure to chemicals such as formaldehyde. It really does go to show that as soon as he stops quoting titles of things he hasn't read and starts coming up with his own explanations, just how little he knows about anything. It'd be impressive if it didn't actually make me feel a little bit sorry for his parents for having to come to terms with inflicting him on the world. Imagine that kind of guilt.
Look, deep time will always cause things to deteriorate.
Ah, see, that explains all the deep time we found inside your skull when we replaced its content with spaghetti. But don't worry, it is dry pasta, which, as we all know, is a thing that will literally last like 1,000,000 lifetimes. Especially if it's multiple colours and placed in decorative jars for some reason. Seriously, what the hell was that about? And why was it in everybody's goddamn kitchen? And why do I kind of want one myself? Oh, goddamn it, am I doing an old again?
You can't run to preservation and say that somehow it was magically preserved over the course of millions of years.
Good news, Matt! No one is f***ing saying that. There's no magic involved in it. Unlike, say, off the top of my head, someone's big book of totally true stories TM. No, any preservation done without the need for magic is done without the need for magic. And the fact that you're refuting this, I mean, it's so lazy, I don't think it's even like a straw man version. It's just very telling. Perhaps if you could actually tell us what the actual mechanism they claim for preservation is, I might actually take you seriously for once in your life. Thankfully, we all know that's never going to happen because everything you say is, what was it again?
Completely irrational and illogical in every sense of the word.
Ha! Brilliant. I just love it when people describe themselves flawlessly for me so I can go and have myself a nice chilled beverage. But yeah, don't let me hear you say I'm not at least giving you a chance to not be ridiculous. It's all up to you, Matt. But please, do feel free to let me down. It's much funnier that way.
And number 2...
That's the poo number. Woo! See, folks, it's that kind of high-tier comedy that you all come to expect from this channel. Not gonna get that on some professional channel. Only the best shit jokes here, ladies and gentlewomen. Oh, hey, I just realised. Shit jokes. I am on fire! Shit! I'm on fire!
When Mary Schweitzer had to deal with this, because remember, when she made the discoveries in 1990 and in 2005, evolutionists were criticizing her and saying that she needed to come up with a mechanism for how these things lasted for 65 plus million years.
Oh, for the love of... You're going to do another stupid, aren't you? For one, it wouldn't be evolutionists, it would be scientists, and I can only imagine that Mary would count herself among those evolutionists anyway. Because apparently she absolutely hates that creationists think that her findings support their stupid arguments. You know, because science. And 2, I think I know exactly what you're inferring to here, and no, bad Matt, science is not going to force her idea to fit in with it. In fact, and I don't actually know if they've done this, but I bet any dating done on said soft tissue will have shown it to be of the correct age. I know that it certainly didn't show the opposite, because you haven't brought it up. How it's totally aged to the last few thousand years. We all know if that was the case, you'd have tugged yourself dry by now.
So Dr. Schweitzer's conclusion was that if you put dinosaur blood or blood of any creature and encapsulate it in iron, that the iron will preserve the blood cells, and that's how it lasted in deep time. This is their claim.
Oh, that's weird. That's actually pretty close to what it says, in a basic way at least. Who told you, Matt? Because I don't believe for 1 second that you actually read it, so I can only assume that someone else did and then explained it to you. Although no matter how you came to possess that information, doesn't change the fact that you are going to go full argument from incredulity here. But I am sorry, Mathieu. Making quote signs with your fingers whilst describing something does not constitute an argument. It's at best you saying, I don't believe it, therefore it's not true, which is obviously not how it works. Now, that's not even to say that the study couldn't actually be wrong. This is all relatively recent as studies go. But if I wanted someone to explain to me how it was wrong, the one who just puts everything he doesn't believe in air quotes like Dr. Fricking Evil is literally the last person I would ask.
But the truth is, when we look in nature, we don't see things magically getting encapsulated by iron when they die.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, what did you... Ugh, this is how I know you didn't read it and had it, I want to say explained to you, but explanation infers someone getting you to understand. It was probably said at you. It doesn't say that metal just formed around the whole creature like a goddamn Iron Man suit. The study says it's more like, at the cellular level, biological iron binding to blood cells, etc., and preserving them for longer. It really is like you think they are talking about full limbs being preserved and not basically a collection of proteins and various cells. Oh, right, that's exactly what you think. Who am I kidding? Like you can think.
Nature doesn't do that. I mean, if you slay an animal and you put it out in nature, or you even cover it with sediment, nature doesn't automatically just encapsulate dead organisms inside of iron.
No, it doesn't. No one said that, no one thinks that, and the fact that you are saying something so utterly and obviously ridiculous and haven't then said to yourself, why do they think that? Let's ask someone who knows about this so they can actually find out what it actually says, just goes further to prove your combination of intellectual dishonesty / incompetence.
It does the exact opposite. It scatters the DNA molecules.
I know this isn't what he meant, but he makes it sound like when someone dies, at some point they detonate. spreading blood and viscera all over the place, like some sort of gore bomb. And I, for one, want to live in this over-the-top, gratuitously organ-coated world, mostly because it would make funerals far more interesting, as everyone races against time to get them in the ground so they don't end up ruining that one smart set of clothes they have.
Since when does anything in nature die and get encapsulated by iron by nature?
I can't believe you said that 3 times in a row. You think that it is such an amazingly good point, but what you've actually done is to state, restate, and restate again that you are a completely ignorant jackass that constantly talks down on subjects that you know less about than literally anyone else on Earth, including me. And I am a friggin' dumbass. Imagine being stupider than Sir Sick and not falling down because you forgot how to breathe. Like, seriously. How do you even use the bathroom without just soiling yourself?
It just doesn't happen.
Oh, that makes sense. Never mind. Silly of me to even ask, because it's actually pretty obvious when you think about it. But don't think about it, because...
So their claim that, well, iron could preserve it, okay, maybe. To claim that nature somehow does this is completely pathetic because we don't ever see that in nature. We don't see organisms getting encapsulated by iron. It just doesn't happen.
Fuck me, 4 times! 4 times, Matthew! Making the same completely ignorant point. You are either the dumbest man alive, or you are like a total false flag deep state controlled opposition troll who is trying his very best to make creationists look like complete and total morons. Because if so, bravo! Literally couldn't have done a better job myself.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstar Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos. And she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the...